Hello, Grover Norquist here. I run Americans for Tax Reform. We're the group that asks people to make a pledge never to raise taxes, a pledge to the American people. And the good news is all the Republicans have kept it since 1994, and the Democrats have been busy raising taxes. But let's focus on today. There's going to be a $5 trillion tax increase next January unless Congress re-ups and makes permanent the Trump tax cuts. And here's where we are. The House of Representatives just voted yes to making permanent all of the tax cuts in the Trump tax cut of 2017, the one we've been living with. Now, some of those tax cuts have started to fade and go away, and they all go away January of next year. So again, $5 trillion tax increase unless we pass the bill. What passed the House? Here's what passed the House. We took the per-child tax credit, which doubled. It protects that and actually adds another $500 per child. It takes the doubling of the standard deduction, what you get to keep and take home with you before you pay any taxes at all. That was doubled by the Republicans. That will be cut in half for individuals, for married couples, if the Democrats are able to stop this tax bill. It also, the new bill, makes permanent faster depreciation, full expensing for business investment. So that your company, if you work for one or run one or participate in one, they can buy better computers to make you more productive, better cars, better trucks, better machinery and equipment, all of which makes workers more productive and makes them able to be paid more. It also gets rid of the Venmo tax, or rather the paperwork on Venmo. Whenever you bought something on Venmo, they were going to require you to do paperwork on it and know for sure that if 5 of you went out for pizza and everybody Venmoed that money to you, that would show up as income. Unless you could prove that you'd actually bought some pizza with those other checks coming in, you'd end up paying taxes on that, or perhaps rent that you might be sharing with others. It was a huge disaster, and it's going out the door. That's the cheerful news. Other cheerful stuff. Well, the small business tax cut, that's going to continue so it can become competitive with China. Now, the corporate income tax, that remains low, was 35, was brought down to 21. At 35, when the Democrats were running things, it was higher than Communist China. Communist China had a 25% tax cut, and our friend Obama had a 35% tax increase. Higher than France, higher than China. Not where we want to be. We're down to 21. President Trump and the Republicans say we want to go to 15. I'm with them. We really ought to go to 15. Not today, but soon. So what else are we doing? The death tax is being protected so that if you pass away and you have a farm or a small business, it won't be cut in half. You're going to try and hand it off to your children. This is all these things very, very pro-growth, very, very helpful. And we're in a real good position because, 100% expensing, 100% expensing for research and development as well, and for deductibility of interest payments. All of these make it easier to have for companies to do more investing in people and in jobs and in higher pay, and these will become permanent. Now, what happened in the past? In the past, you passed these tax cuts for 5 years or 10 years, then they go away. Remember, Bush had a tax cut and it disappeared, and only about 85% of it was allowed to continue because of Obama. We don't want these very powerful tax reductions to evaporate, to die. We want them to be made permanent. And if they are permanent, that means 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we don't have to go and give things to the liberal Democrats like big spending programs in order to keep the pro-growth tax policy in place. It is a huge, huge step forward. And now there were discussions as we did this all. Some people said, well, why don't we raise the top rate? And President Trump and the Republican House and Senate said, we have promised to cut everybody's taxes. And that's one of the wonderful things. The press, when Trump was passing this the first time with the Republicans, the press said, this is just for big corporations, it's just for billionaires. In point of fact, the New York Times, the Washington Post, every major publication, after the bill passed, had to admit that it was true, that that was a tax cut for every single American. And keep in mind, and most Americans understand this, you probably have figured it out, a tax on a grocery store is not paid by the grocery store. It's paid by people who shop at the grocery store. Every time you buy potatoes or milk, you're paying for the property tax of that grocery store. When you have a corporate income tax, and they say we're going to raise the corporate income tax, and General Motors will pay for it. There is no Mr. General Motors. General Motors only has money when they sell you cars. So the cost of your car goes up. And that money goes to General Motors, and General Motors takes it and gives it to the government. And that's the challenge that we have. We need to make sure that we don't hide taxes on people inside taxing corporations. And that's what this wonderful, big, beautiful bill does. Lower tax rates for all Americans, lower tax rates for all businesses, big ones, small ones, growing ones. And now we can compete with the rest of the world on a firm basis and a permanent lower taxes.